Pietro Paganini, who's an adjunct assistant professor of business administration at John Cabot University in Rome. Pietro, thanks for joining us. It was said of Matteo Salvini recently, and these were, excuse me, politicians in government, that Salvini is obsessed with migrants. What do you make of this move by his own party in that small committee in the Senate voting for him to be stripped of his immunity from prosecution?
Well, you said very right. The real vote is in few weeks inside the parliament and the chamber. So the vote in the committee was totally useless. The majority did not come. And Salvini, that is a political machine, used that to make the show and to try to attract and capture votes. He asked his own party to vote against him, so that when they go then to the vote in the parliament in a few weeks, again he will try to vote against himself. But the purpose of this week vote was exactly ahead of the elections that we are going to have on Sunday in Emilia-Romagna, that traditionally is a left region, and in Calabria. And if Salvini wins in Emilia-Romagna, that will be an incredible result for him and an incredible defeat for the left that I just want to remind you in the past 40 years had almost 60 to 70 and sometimes 75% of votes in that area.
When he brought down the previous coalition government, he was obviously hoping to trigger a general election. He thought he could become prime minister. What do you think would happen if there was a general election today?
Well, today the general election would probably create or probably propose a coalition on the right. So Salvini will definitely have the majority, but it will have to share the majority with a few other parties. The former Berlusconi, former Prime Minister Berlusconi, and probably with a very far right Fratelli d'Italia. So he might become prime minister, but he has to share that majority with at least one other party. So it's not such a, because of the electoral system in Italy, it's not such a big win for him. And let's not forget that he's able to collect a lot of votes, but his party is not as good as him. People are voting for him. They are not voting for his party. And still, if we look at the national election.
Okay, let's hope that we can reestablish that contact with Pietro Paganini. Okay, no, we have lost it. Okay, Pietro, I believe you're back. Okay, sorry, you just got cut off in the middle of your answer about whether there would be a victory for Salvini. You were saying that probably Fratelli d'Italia, also Forza Italia, that they would combine to make some kind of coalition of the right wing. Is most of this based on an anti-immigrant position? Because if Salvini is obsessed with migrants, the figures are quite amazing. About 600,000 people in Italy are in the country without proper documentation. That's less than 1% of Italy's entire population. So why is there such a huge feeling amongst these parties of the right against new arrivals?
Well, going back to what I said before, Salvini momentum is still high, but is a bit losing. And again, he has changed the narrative. It's no longer so much about the immigrants. It's more about Italians. It's more about a clean Italy. Just a funny fact, he went ringing the bell of an apartment of a family that was supposed to be a pusher of drug. So he's taking these very strong actions to show that he's the man of order. He's the man that is going to make a safe and clean Italy. But, this is political campaign. This is an electoral campaign. Governing a country is something different. And as you remember, Mr. Salvini was in government till August. And then he made a move, and apparently was the wrong move. He likes to be at the opposition. Governing is something very different. Okay,
Pietro, my producer says we have to end the interview, but I've persuaded him to allow me to ask you one more question, because it's so fascinating, the allegations that Salvini has only become so powerful because of Russian money, right? The allegations are so serious of people who are close to the Kremlin, meeting with people who are close to Salvini, and Russian money has made Matteo Salvini the politician he is today. How believable is that?
Well, that is something obviously I cannot answer. I'm very fascinated too. Of course, there were meetings. There are proofs that there were, private meetings as well. And certainly the Kremlin has tried to, lobby not just Matteo Salvini, but as every government is probably doing, but still there are not proofs that there was money transferred from Russia to Salvini. There's been an investigation, but no results yet. So we have to stick to facts, but certainly is a very fascinating interpretation.
It really is quite something, isn't it? Pietro Paganini, thank you so much. Really glad we re-established that contact.